Here now to talk more about the issue is KU Side contributor and criminal defense attorney Vikas Bajaj. Vic, this is a tricky issue because these guys, they end their sentences, and no, you don't want them just released out onto the street. You want them under some kind of surveillance. But then when you release them to be surveilled and watched, they still have to be released somewhere in San Diego, and we don't want that either.
Well, that's correct, and you raise a very astute point. These individuals have already completed their criminal sentence. So under the California Penal Code, there are certain triads of punishments: 16 months, 2 years, 3 years, 9 years, whatever the number may be for these horrific crimes. About 6 months before the individual is done with their incarceration, their penal punishment for the criminal charge, they're starting to be evaluated for their release. And they go through an analysis and evaluations to see if they're safe to be released. The sexual violent predator statute, we normally think of it in a knee-jerk reaction as a criminal statute. It's actually a statute to implore and imply civil commitment after an individual has completed their criminal statute. So these are civil judgments made by many times criminal judges who have to interpret the law. And another knee-jerk reaction is we say, well, how can this judge in his or her right mind allow this dangerous person to be released? Well, that problem and that issue really needs to be targeted towards the state lawmakers, because the law allows for this release to take place in these horrific crimes given a certain number of evaluations, such as, can we make sure this individual can be released but still have adequate safeguards to the community? It doesn't do anything to actually make the community feel safe any more than any other thing would be, other than these individuals being incarcerated. But the real target has to be this law. This law is an individual law that gives the ability to hold people in custody past their criminal statute, which may be a good thing to protect our society.
I just wanted to point that out. Him being released into this kind of supervision is good, because he's not being released onto the street without any supervision. But at the same time, people don't want them released in their neighborhood.
That's correct. And there's also a fiscal cost. You know, some numbers of the pundits you'll come up to, and they'll say $1 million per individual that the state and the county have to foot the bill for in order for them to have their liberty after they've completed their criminal sentence. So there are extraordinarily powerful forces on both sides of the argument. At the end of the day, when we distill it, it's a real conflict in the law, and the fault really would not lie with the judge or the magistrate that makes the decision. The fault and the force and effect has to be targeted towards our lawmakers.
You deal with these guys, you know these guys. When we're talking about Alvin Quarles, a serial rapist, or this man who has, abused young kids sexually, can they ever really be reformed? I think most people are just critical, and they just don't see these guys as being trustworthy and valuable assets to their community. Is that fair?
Well, I think it is fair, and I think practically for those of us who have family members and kids ourselves, it's sort of something we cannot ignore. Our common sense says, well, this is a dangerous thing and it's an inherent pattern of behavior. Let's actually look at the statute. In order to qualify for the sexual violent predator statute to come into play, you have to have one or more victims and some act of violence. So inherent in that is a pattern of criminality, and with many of these individuals, and just to be clear, I have not had any involvement with these particular cases, but with these types of issues, the problem is, how do you sufficiently pad the file and make sure a judge has enough to say, despite the lack of aberrance, despite the pattern of inherent behavior, there's sufficient safeguards to protect the community? It's a tough call all the way around.
Very tough call.
Yes.
Thank you, though, for coming in and shedding some light and giving us some analysis. We appreciate it.
Always my pleasure. Thank you.
Vikas Bajaj, everyone.